Attention Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars fans. Are you searching for love in a galaxy far, far away? Then Meet Upon Maine is the ultimate dating and social networking site for you.
Join thousands of fans who are making magical connections. Whether you're seeking a serious relationship or amazing new park buddies, Meet Upon Maine has it all.
Build a profile to make magical matches, create new friendships, and bond over your shared passions, from epic lightsaber battles to heartwarming Disney moments. Embrace the thrill of finding someone who vibes with your fandom on a whole new level.
Don't miss out on this enchanted opportunity. Make your dreams come true with Meet Upon Maine, where Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars fans connect.
Sign up now and let the magic begin. Visit meetuponmaine.com and start your journey to a happily ever after.
Meet Upon Maine is not affiliated with Disney, Marvel, or Lucasfilm. Please use responsibly and follow our community guidelines. Must be 18 years or older to join.
Let's put that genie back in the bottle.
Paints with the colors of the wind, bitch.
It's time for 2 Finger Point.
Power Daddy.
Our shoes are in the pond.
Extra magic hours, which we in turn called extra tragic hours.
People called him the naked mole rat.
Did you really just 2 finger point?
Here are your hosts, Amber and Kylie.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode of 2 Finger Point. I'm Amber.
And I'm Kylie.
And we'll roll right into our Disney news of the week here. So starting in California, as we usually do. It's just so hard not to because I'm here. So like that's where like all the news comes in. So Disneyland, Adventureland Treehouse. So officially on the Disney website, they have said that it's set to open this year, but no official date. So they gave us
in 2023.
This year, 2023. So it's set to open in fall, just no actual date of what day in fall.
Okay.
So sometime in the next few months.
And we're recording this on September 16th. So fall officially starts in 5 days. By the time it airs, it'll already be fall.
So we'll see when I feel like they're going to do this like towards the end. I would say, or maybe more middle. I'm going to say like maybe like November, beginning of November, because Halloween just ended and they want to like throw something back out.
I think you're right.
And just for context too, like when I was in the park a few weeks ago, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, they had kind of started taking down the boards and stuff that was hiding the actual treehouse. And like you can kind of see the top part of it. So like last time I was there, I was like, oh, this is going to open soon. But there was no word, but clearly in the next month or two, it's going to. So it's going to be all encompassing. I know there are definitely some features of the Swiss Family Robinson movie. Like I think there's some stuff from like Mother's Music Room, I think they said is going to be part of the treehouse.
Okay.
And just different things like that allude to that movie specifically. But I don't know about like other things they're generalizing. And I like it. It's one of those breaks you get from like standing in line for rides or just like, you know, meandering around. It's one of those fun things that you walk through. You can touch everything. I don't know.
It's very interactive and you don't have to wait.
It's a good way to burn off energy for kids too. Cause I know like I said, standing in line, like for an adult, like we don't love it, but like we can tolerate it. But like I know after a while it gets to kids. So this is like another one of those things that you can be like, have at it, go touch everything.
Yes.
Refurbishment is meant to keep it for a while instead of having to keep refurbishing it because it is generalized versus like it being set to one movie for like a specific amount of time and they have to change it again. But sticking it in California Adventureland, back with our new stuff. So they've gotten a couple of Halloween treats that made its way over to DCA. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not super pumped about them.
What are they?
Okay, so first off, they love to mess up a hot dog or a corn dog. It's like their favorite thing to do. So let's start there. So they're calling it a spicy beef and pepper jack cheese corn dog, which already sounds terrifying.
Oh, really?
I'm terrified.
Well, actually, okay, yeah, corn dog, yes.
Yeah, hot dog, sure.
Hot dog, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, that's too much breading cheese, a lot going on here that I don't need.
Yeah.
They made it worse. So
oh no.
So specifically, it's a spicy and beef pepper jack corn dog drizzled with blackberry sauce, and topped with Sorianos.
Ew, blackberry
Why do I say
sauce?
Siriano? Why do I say Siriano every time?
Add a
I know it's
syllable.
Serrano. I do. But blackberry sauce,
That sounds disgusting.
horrifying. I get what they're doing here because don't get me wrong, I love a good I don't know if you've had it yet, but in the South they have like a pepper jack jelly usually, or like a pepper jelly where you can get
Oh,
it's good pepper jelly. Check it out. I think this is what they're going for here is like a pepper jelly hot dog, but they are missing the mark.
yeah. But when I think of blackberry with the cheese, it's more of like a brie or a cream cheese, not
Mhm.
pepper jack.
Yeah. This is like I said, I get the pepper with the jelly. Like I can understand how those flavors make sense, but you're not doing it right.
Mm-mm.
Oh, but brie with a blackberry sauce, don't even get me started. Oh, yum. I would die for that. Yeah, so hard pass on this corn dog. Which again, why are you going so hard with this like these hot dog concoctions?
Right.
I don't know. Give us a Casey's Corner. Low
Yeah.
key. No, they have on the Hollywood Strip, the main hot dog place, Award Wieners. It's just a walk-up place. You can't like sit down. There's like an outdoor spot to sit. But I'm unimpressed with their Award Wieners. And then the corner place off of Main Street with hot dogs, they've got a generalized selection too. But again, there's not like you can't get a Polish dog. Which okay, not that big of a deal, but it's like hard to find a good chili dog. I don't even think Award Wieners does it that great, in my opinion. I guess just a basic corn dog is what I'm gonna have to stick with because they are doing way too much with this. That's
Yeah. Just sometimes you can't beat a basic hot dog.
that's what I'm saying. It's like it's not hard to just give me a hot dog with ketchup and mustard.
It's Halloween. I'm not like, I can go for a hot dog right now.
That's like the exact opposite of what I want. I want like sugar, and then I want
Yeah.
like something hearty. Like honestly, I'm thinking like maybe like a mac and cheese or something would have been a good option.
Yes.
Spicy
Oh.
mac. Oh, I would have been for that. But anyway, and then they also have a sweet treat. So candy apple churro. So it's
I
I mean
would
again,
try it.
yeah, I would try it. It's not the worst. So it's a churro with green apple sugar, and it's topped with black candy apple sauce.
Why did they have to go so cheap with that? When you say candy apple churro, I'm hoping like there's a filling on the inside, like apple pie filling with, and then you can just stick to your cinnamon sugar traditional churro on the
Mhm.
outside.
And then caramel sauce if you want to dip it in there.
Yes.
Be
Why do we need
perfect.
to have green apple sugar like that? And didn't they do that with the one for the Haunted Mansion or whatever? And it was
The
like
strawberry one.
strawberry on strawberry on strawberry. And it's like,
They're doing too much.
yeah, too much
I-
sugar.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm a sweet teeth girl. I love sugar. Like, but this is just like too much of it.
Yeah.
I think it could have been cool if they had dusted it in the normal, sugar, but made it green instead of green apple sugar. Just
Yeah.
normal sugar, but green. Like you said, fill it with like a apple pie filling and then have a dipping caramel sauce. Boom.
I guess we need to start our own little restaurant because we just keep coming up with actually good ideas.
Literally, I'm like, let me take your idea and make it better real quick. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I get that they're trying to be creative in the sense of like making it colorful, campy, but like they're missing the mark on the taste here. And that's
Yeah.
like the main point. So it's like I understand we're in an age of like Instagram and TikTok where we do want a pretty picture of our food. But you have to also make it taste good because I'm gonna eat it. But I guess that's the problem here, right? Is a lot of these influencers really aren't eating the food, like
Yeah.
low key. So like that's what's happening here is influencers are taking a picture and throwing it away. And we, the people who are actually eating it, are getting the short end of the stick because they're catering to these people who are speaking highly of their brand,
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit disappointing. That's one of the lower end things of the influencer era that I kind of dislike is that they do influence things, but sometimes in a negative way.
Yeah. I
So.
100% agree with that. And I mean, growing up, you'd watch commercials and your parents would typically tell you, like, don't believe it, it's fake. But, like, it's just so in your face now. It's like, oh, this, Suzanne, who's just like me, says this is delicious, so it must be delicious. Well, Suzanne's getting, $150 to say that.
Yeah. And
And
she didn't actually eat it.
Yeah. So,
which is the big thing
it's
here. Like, they're lying to you. That's like, at least we kind of knew like actors were lying to us when it was like a
Mhm.
sponsored brand deal. But now it's getting harder to know who's telling the truth, because you're getting these people who, like you said, they're relatable, or they're just an everyday, girl who's, telling you this is a good product, but they're getting paid to tell you that. And
Right.
it's a hard decipher as a consumer.
Yeah, you have to always remember, like, what you're taking in on social media these days. That's what you're taking in during a commercial break.
Mhm.
Everything is just marketed.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy how accessible we are as humans now.
Mhm.
I think about that a lot, and I miss not being as reachable sometimes.
Yes.
But anyway, away from my like old woman,
Rant.
millennial rant. Back in my day. Oh my God. I can't believe we're getting to that point.
We've arrived.
It's so funny. Okay, back to Disney. So moving across to Disney World. So annual pass holders at Disney World are receiving a new complimentary magnet. So in celebration of the Disney 100, they can receive an Oswald the Lucky Rabbit magnet. And they're available for pickup at the Creation Studio in Epcot from September 20th through October 23rd of this year. And it is while supplies last. It is first come, first serve. So if you
So-
get there and they don't have it,
Go grab it now.
I want something like this. How come only Floridians get this? I'm a magic key holder.
Maybe they'll. I feel like if you're a magic key holder, they should give you something of like a key.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. They sell keychains with keys on them.
Oh, they
And
sell.
Oh,
'Cause you
yeah, they
didn't pay
sell.
enough to get a free keychain.
Right, thank you. They do give you a magnet, but it's kind of it's just a generalized magnet. It says Disneyland Magic Key, and it's kind of it's like a banner style looking one.
Oh,
Very
I
generic.
wonder if it's made for your car.
It is, but
Oh.
I heard stories that they steal them off your car in the parking lots at Disney.
Oh. Okay, it's not like you get free parking with that, bro.
I mean, so
It's
crazy.
just a magnet, it's not your ticket.
That's what I'm saying. So people are wild and people get bold. And I'm like, of all places, at Disney, the place where you should probably
Mhm.
be the nicest, but we still have people who come in and do shit like that.
Yeah. It's probably because they have like the downtown Disney where you don't have to go to the park to go to Disney, and that's
You're
probably
right.
why.
You're 100%
Because we
right.
did that one night when I went to
Mhm.
visit, we went with Eric and just hung out at downtown Disney.
Yeah. And like reading through like the Reddit threads and stuff, like people will say, yeah, like sometimes I just go pop into downtown Disney with my pass because I can. It's free parking. Well, some of them are. Mine is because I had to pay the most expensive one.
Yeah.
But
But even like, okay, you pay what is it, like $10 around
Mhm.
that to park. Like, if you're gonna go make a night out of it, whatever.
yeah, I feel like it's worth it. Even before we were key holders, pass holders, Eric and I did it a couple of times because there's something.
Yeah.
You're so close to Disney that you get that campiness and you feel that
Mhm.
Disney air, and so it's worth it to just go to downtown sometimes. Even.
Yeah, so those are probably not you guys, but like I'm sure the people who are stealing out of the parking lots are those in that category that just can go to downtown Disney.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's still just so stupid. I can't believe, like, of all places, even Disney.
Yeah. Or it could be
So.
kids too.
It
Yeah.
probably is.
Yeah, we're getting old.
Okay, yeah, that's where we are. Get off my lawn. I literally just like was talking about getting old, and now I'm like, get off my lawn. So bad. But yeah, anyway, so my whole point was that I'm jealous that they're getting this, commemorative Disney 100 magnet. I think it's really cool. But I think it's weird how there's like I don't know. I guess this is just an opinion. I feel like it's weird that there's a separation between the Disney pass holders at Walt Disney World versus Disneyland. Like, I understand there has to be a separation in the sense of like park tickets. Like, I get that. But I mean, like, as far as like overall perks, I feel like there's an imbalance sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So, but not that there are that many perks anyway, because I know like on both ends, we're both kind of complaining, like we spend all this money to like be able to come to Disney, which is so
Right.
great. But you also don't kind of, I guess the right word is like appreciate or value
Yeah.
that. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's just annoying that there's tiers, period.
Yeah.
But you pay a lot of money to be on that tier. You would think there's some sort of level of exclusivity, and there's really not.
Right. That's how I feel. Exactly. Like I said, like for Disneyland, they have the Magic Key Terrace, which is a great place where you can go and like get some drinks and food, but the exclusivity is just getting up there. Like only
Mm-hmm.
one person has to be a key holder. Anyone else can be up there as long as one person's a key holder. And there's no tier level for it. So like you could be the lowest tier, but you're
Yeah.
still going up there and paying for food and drink.
And you
So
can't even get in all the time. Like, it took you
exactly.
3 or 4 tries to even get in there.
And every time I go, I'm not even guaranteed. Like last time I was there was like no chance of even getting in. So yeah, I guess it's nice to somewhat be recognized as a pass holder in a sense, but Disney's really not doing anything else but saying thank you for your money.
Yeah.
So that's what makes me wonder on if we want to continue with the Magic Key next year. If we would, I almost feel like I might go down a tier. We talk about it a lot, and like as Disney adults, we've held Disney so high as a standard and like as something that
Mm-hmm.
we love for so long, and it feels like Disney's kind of throwing us to the side. But we're
Yeah.
like, we still love you. We're still here, and you guys aren't appreciating us as much, and it's difficult as an adult to hold on to something that doesn't as
They
a
just want
brand
money.
appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everything's a money grab. It's really sad.
it really is.
Well, into all the money grabs. So the D23 Expo was this week. I really kind of struggled trying to find like updates on this.
Yeah.
Like not much about movies, or anything. So I don't know. But it might be due to this. So this will be the last year of the D23 being called the D23 Expo. So it's always since 2009 been called the D23 Expo, and it's been over the span of 3 days. Next year, they're going to call it the D23 The Ultimate Fan Experience, and it's going to be over the course of a week.
Oh,
So it's going to be bigger and better.
okay.
From what I see, because I really had trouble getting much, whether it was on social media, just scrolling, or actually going and searching for the information. I really had trouble finding anything. And I remember like the last couple of years on Disney Plus, like day by day, they would be like, here's what went on at D23 today. And so you could see stuff too. Because I remember seeing Halle Bailey, like all you hear is her singing Part of Your World, just a little snippet. And you're
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I need to see that movie.
That's crazy that they're being so much more tight-lipped this year. I wonder what
I don't know if
happened.
it's tight-lipped or they just didn't do much.
Oh,
I
okay.
know they did a little bit. I heard they brought out Figment as a character
Okay.
for meet and greets. But yeah, Snow White, we were anticipating some stuff on that. I could not find anything. But I did realize something while I was trying to search. So last year's when they gave the teaser, and that's when her comments came about. So that was at last year's D23. Yeah. So all I found on that is it's going to be coming up in this coming spring. But honestly, I'm kind of like exhausted about talking about Snow White. So I'll leave a link in the show notes with more information if you still want to know more about the upcoming movie. I'm just kind of done.
Yeah, no, I
It's
don't blame
just
you.
too problematic. But
Truly.
there were some park updates I was able to find.
Mhm.
No movies or anything like that, but I was able to find a handful of park updates. So I'll just give some like interesting ones. There's way more than this, but and we'll link the full list. But Ahsoka for Star Wars fans, I have no idea who it is, but they're going to be added to the Star Tours ride. So it's actually played by
Oh.
Rosario Dawson in The Mandalorian.
Mhm.
So if you know, you know. I don't know.
I
but-
actually do know this character only
Okay.
only because of Eric. Shout out Eric.
Yeah.
But he's also watching he's watching Ahsoka right now on Disney Plus. But also when I drive into my office, there's a big billboard for Ahsoka, so I know what she looks
Okay.
like.
Yeah, so she's going to be added to Star Tours, which is
Cool.
that's a classic ride. I'm not a Star Wars person, but I know Star Tours. I've grown
Yeah.
up with that ride. We also have the upcoming newest Disney princess, Asha, from the movie Wish that's coming in
Oh,
November.
yeah.
So she's going to be now at Epcot and Disney World, and then Disneyland and Disneyland Paris. So you
Ooh.
can meet her and take photos with her.
Yay.
This one kind of got confusing for me. So Hatbox Ghost is making his return to Haunted Mansion. I don't know if this is a Mandela effect or what. I already thought this ghost was in here because I looked up Hatbox Ghost and I was like, isn't this like the Haunted Mansion ghost? Like, I know this character, but apparently he was an animatronic that was in there, and then they took him out in 1969 when we went to the moon. I'm joking, but but like when they opened up the ride in 1969, they like took him out.
Did they though? I swear. Okay, so remind me, right? Hatbox Ghost is the one where he's holding the lantern, right?
Yes, and he's got like a teal face.
Yeah, he's in the one at Disneyland. I just saw him.
Maybe it's just Disney World. Okay, because I'm like, I know that ghost.
Yeah, same. I just saw him. I was like, wait a minute, that's the guy we were talking about. So it's got to be Disney World.
Okay. Thank you for clearing that up. Because I'm like, is this a Mandela effect? I always thought this ghost was there.
No, he was. He's got a specific little nook that you almost have to kind of turn to see him.
Yeah.
If you remember. Yeah.
Then we have new acts and songs coming to Country Bear Jamboree. So obviously that's Florida. Congratulations. I think that was the one thing I regretted not doing at Disney when we were there, because I loved that attraction at Disneyland. I never went to go see it at Disney World because it was always with somebody who didn't want to. Or it was bad timing, or it was like closed for the day, whatever. But
yeah.
I wish I would have gone and seen it one last time because I love Country Bears. A third attraction is coming to Avengers Campus. So I didn't find any details, but apparently they discussed them at the D23. There's a new bar coming to Adventureland next to Pirates. And I love the name. It's called the Watering Hole.
Oh,
I think that's super cute. Yeah, so that's a bar, so people can drink in there.
Oh, okay.
In Epcot, there's a new show coming, like the water shows at night. It's called Luminous, the Symphony of Us. And then the World Celebration is another thing coming to Epcot, and I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but it's supposed to tie the front and the backs of the parks together. Sure. I don't know. I love Epcot the way it is. And then there's also a new attraction coming to Epcot, Journey of Water. And this is going to have Moana in it and a meet and greet with Moana. So I don't know if it's a ride or like learning about water or what.
It's an experience. I remember doing research on this specifically because I think this is going to be in Epcot if I'm not wrong. Journey of Water.
It's Epcot. Yeah. I imagine with the name The Journey of Water, it's probably going to be in the Land Pavilion, is my guess.
Probably. But yeah, it's some kind of an experience. I know it's not a ride, and people, they must be, maybe they revamped it a little bit or they like adjusted, but people were not super thrilled about it at first just because it was like a walkthrough experience. It wasn't like
it's got to be in the land then, because that kind of sounds like living with the land, where you ride the boat and you learn about plants.
Probably something like that.
I personally love it, but I know there's people that won't, and Like the little girls that want to meet Moana don't care either. But
Yeah.
I feel like that's the whole point of Epcot is it's an educational place
Mhm.
and you're mixing entertainment with education, and that's why I love it so much. So
Yeah.
I think it's good to teach kids to take care of their planet.
I agree. I think it's preferential. I think, yeah, and it's one of those things again where you're not waiting in line, you're walking through. It's immersive.
Yes.
Like I love something where it's just like just get in there and go. Like
Yeah. So we're gonna get into our segment of the week. So Amber came up with this idea. I'll let you explain.
Yeah, so we were just thinking about like some forgotten, underrated, or just slept on Disney stars because in the 2000s there was a boom of like Disney kids that were just like on a ton of shows and movies. And I feel like in the sense of each show or movie there was kind of like a breakout star or a couple of breakout stars, and everyone else kind of just got thrown to the side.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to like talk about some of the different maybe characters that I should say actors and actresses that we forgot about that like were actually pretty talented, but we like slept on them, we should have given them the time of day, but we didn't.
Yeah. I think it's such a good idea to talk about these because it's definitely a part of our childhood and they deserve more.
Yeah. And in this time, to be a Disney star was to be kind of a jack of all trades, which if people don't know, like you had to be able to sing, dance and act. So if you could do all three, you were a Disney star. If you couldn't, you were a Nick star. Just kidding.
Oh,
Just kidding. But no, that's what they expected for Disney. They were really hardcore about the people they had on shows, because then you would see them start a music career or whatever. So all of these people are talented, so it's disappointing some of them got slept on. So we can kind of go back and forth, I think. Do you want to go first?
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start with this one, and I know there's like two sides of it. But I think he was kind of sold short. Orlando Brown, and I know he's got a drug problem that's very well known, and he's said a lot of controversial things. I will 100% say he was under the influence while he's saying these things. He just, in the recent things I've seen him like interviewed on or whatever, he very much gives me Aaron Carter vibes, and it just kind of breaks my heart. But that boy is so talented.
Yes.
He can act. We've seen him rap. He can sing. I don't know if you're familiar with the Vine.
I'm not familiar with the Vine.
He's singing like from Willy Wonka, "Come with me and you'll see that I live in a world of I don't give a bitch." And,
oh my God.
But his voice is so beautiful.
Okay.
And I mean, you can also like in a dream that your wish, a wish is no. What am I trying to say?
A dream is a wish your heart makes.
Thank you.
It's okay.
The circle of stars, like
yes,
he hits that like high note,
right,
and it's like, okay, Orlando, like he is so talented, and I think he probably got pushed off after Raven, because he never got any DComs or anything, and I don't know what happened with him, but I wish we could have gotten more of him, and like somebody needs to give him a record deal because I would love his album.
Yeah, no, his voice, he gave me Usher vibes back in the day.
Yes, I feel like he might be a little bit better than Usher singing wise, and Usher's really, really good. But his voice, I could see him on like Broadway or something. He's very talented.
Yeah, I think he got the short end of the stick, and it sounds like, unfortunately, he's got some mental issues that he has to deal with, which is really, really sad because I feel like, in this time, like Disney did have a boom with stars, but they also didn't know how to properly help them with their mental health at this time. Yeah. And I feel that was the downfall of a few of the stars in the days that kind of
more than a few.
And I feel like that was the downfall because there were these strict, tight schedules when it came to working for Disney, I'm sure. And I'm sure that can affect you in certain ways. He definitely deserved better in my opinion. You know what? I'll start with Emily Osment. Kind of.
Yeah.
Her acting career has done very well. She's, in the sense of like she kind of took off and got shows. Like she still stayed in the Disney bubble where she was on Freeform with Young and Hungry.
Love that show.
Great show. And then she did Pretty Smart on Netflix, which
Yeah.
only went for one season, but I really loved it. I was so
Oh, was
disappointed
it?
that
Did it get canceled?
it got canceled. And
That's
they
a
left you with a
bummer.
cliffhanger too.
Yeah, I liked that one too, and it was kind of cheesy, but it was almost like the same humor as Young and Hungry. I
Yeah.
loved Young and Hungry so much. I was a little bit late to the game on that one. I didn't watch
Okay.
it while it was on TV. I streamed it like later,
Yeah.
but it was one I would just watch over and over again. And I don't know if you can. I don't think you can stream it
I think
right
it's on
now.
Netflix.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It was like a year or two ago.
It's just
That
all the
means
characters
nothing.
are so funny.
No, she's good. Yeah. No, I love
That-
the campiness.
Yes, and like Yolanda and what's his name? Elliot, the assistant.
I think so.
They're just so funny. And Josh, like, he's not that funny, but like you need him to like create the chaos.
Yeah, they had good dynamic among the characters. But yeah,
Yes.
she's all it's interesting because she played a really like in Hannah Montana when she played Lily, she was a good side character, but she also kind of came to the forefront as the years like went on. Like she became that sidekick character to Miley in the sense of like it was Lily and Miley. Like you needed both. It couldn't be one or the other.
Yeah, and I feel like when it comes to comedy, she's the good lead. Like,
Yeah.
sorry, Miley, you're a great entertainer, but like Lily was the funny in the show.
Totally. It felt a little bit forced sometimes when she
Yes.
did it.
Either of
When
the
Miley did it.
Cyruses of that show.
Yeah.
Billy Ray too. But I
Yeah.
feel like your funny people on that show really were the side characters. Jackson, Lily, and Oliver. They were the
Yeah.
hilarious ones.
Yeah. And so, yeah, they definitely brought the humor to the show and they brought the element that really kind of brought it all together. But she had a singing career too, Emily Osment.
Mhm.
And she's pretty talented. Like I keep hearing it on TikTok, the song, "Let's be friends so we can make out."
I don't
even
know that song.
it's crazy. "You're so cute, let me show you around." Let me see if I can find it.
Oh wow.
Oh no, it was a very racy song for Disney too, because like
Wait,
this
that
was a
was
Disney.
It
Oh yeah.
was?
Oh yeah.
How do I not know it?
This was like later Disney for us, so we were kind of like emerging because this was at the end of Hannah Montana, which was what, like 2012?
Something like that, yeah. I just know she covered Once Upon a Dream, and it wasn't my favorite.
Okay. Maybe that's why then she kind of was edgy. But I think that was what Miley was doing at the time too, being kind of edgy and
Mhm.
breaking out of Disney in a sense. And they kind of brushed her to the side. Like she was talented.
Yeah, I feel like though, like the funny girls, the genuinely funny girls always get that short end of the stick.
Yeah.
Like you never see Aquafina in a lead role unless
You're
she's
right.
creating it.
You're right. That's a big deal in the comedian like industry though, comedy industry when it comes to women. Like they always say how like when it comes to guys like being funny, it's very easy to kind of get what you need in like
Mhm.
in that space. But as a woman, they kind of push back and say like, what, you're taking that one thing that we can do as men. How you can't be funny, only men
Yeah.
can be funny. So it's a
I
weird
wonder,
space
yeah, that's true.
because they basically say like strong women can't be funny,
Yeah.
which
And
is a weird
that's
thing to say.
I think honestly that's why I enjoyed Young and Hungry so much, because there was just so much hilarity to the show
Yeah.
because your lead actress was the funny.
Yeah, and I think as we've progressed with shows throughout the year, and I think that's a sitcom thing too, is like I think when it comes to sitcoms, like that's where the comedy is. And I
Mhm.
feel like they tried to like over dramatize some of these kid shows sometimes. It's like, no, like you guys had these lame jokes. We could have some good jokes and it could
Yeah.
actually be funny.
So Annalise Vanderpool,
Mhm.
aka Chelsea on That's So Raven. So she's very talented. And I know she's been on Broadway and things, but she's gotten the short end of the stick a lot. And recently she came out with a TikTok where she hinted that Disney asked her to step away from Raven's home. Which
Mhm.
how I'm sorry, I love Raven, but how are you gonna have the character Raven Baxter without Chelsea?
Agreed. No, it was one of those dynamics, right? Where it's like the
Mm-hmm.
best friend duo, where it's like they made that such a like a core part of the original show that it's like if you're gonna spin off, you're gonna do something, you can't not have that character.
Yes, and she's so good in that role. She's so
Mhm.
silly, and she
Ah,
really commits to the like ditzy girl.
yes. I thought she
And
was so funny.
yes, I loved her. I love that show was just so good. Everyone was well casted,
Mhm.
but yeah, and I think they gave her like one song on Disney Channel, and that
Yeah.
girl's voice is so beyond Disney Channel. I
Yeah.
They should have given her a singing career.
That's what
I
I'm saying.
I
Like
love Hillary, but if you're gonna give Hillary a record deal, you need to give Annalise a record deal.
low key, because we can we talk about the TikToks about raise your voice? Hey, hey,
Three different voices.
yeah. They had true talent in certain aspects, but it was the star potential that they kind of followed. But it's like
Yeah,
you could have invested in these actors and actresses to give them that star potential. It's because you invested in these other actors and actresses that they did have it. So
yeah. She's on a new podcast with Christy Carlson Romano called Big Name Bitches, and
mhm.
she kind of talks about this kind of stuff. And she's got so much potential. She played Belle on Broadway, like Christy
Crazy.
Carlson Romano, but she's got the talent. So I don't know
Yeah.
why she's got to go on a podcast where she's talking about it now because she's not continuing to do it. She
I
needs to
wonder,
get a gig.
yeah. I wonder what the controversy is because, like, yeah, the ones who do speak out and want to be a part of it, like, I feel like Disney should kind of like give it some kind of like,
I think they're just cheaping out.
they are. Well, that's probably true because these people were on Disney, so they're probably trying to negotiate in certain ways.
Yeah, they that and they've removed a lot of characters from what I've heard from that show. I watched the first couple of seasons of Raven's Home, but
Hmm.
they took the daughter off. They like wrote her off that she went to move with Devon, and
Wasn't
um
that the whole point of the show is
and
have her
then I
having a
think they
daughter?
took Chelsea and her son off.
So then
Well,
what's the point of the show?
she had twins. She had a son and a daughter, and they just kept the son. And then Chelsea moved in with her son, and so
Right.
they all lived together, kind of like a Full House concept.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's the point of the show? All right, what's your next one?
Okay, so we'll keep it in the same family, and I'll say raven-symone. Um, I feel I know she's expressed it herself too that she was very much slept on as far as a Disney star. It after That's So Raven, she didn't do anything for a while, if that I can remember.
This is an interesting one because I feel like while she was on Disney, I feel like she was the queen of Disney.
Mm-hmm.
I feel if you zoom out into the big picture, like Hollywood slept on her.
You're right.
But I remember her. I mean, she did Cheetah Girls, until she walked away on her own terms, and then That's So Raven. When it was Circle of Stars time, she was always the lead singer out of all these talented singers.
Yeah, she
I
had
feel
stage
like
presence.
Disney, yeah, I feel like Disney knew what they were doing with Raven, and she had her own like music, like she had that song Backflip, and
Mm-hmm.
some call it Magic. So I don't know if I'd say Disney slept on her, but Hollywood 100%.
You're right. Yeah, because I agree with that aspect. Like she definitely got slept on in Hollywood, and I I'm pretty sure part of it was a race issue at one point, if I'm remembering correctly.
Well, I know, yeah, she was interviewed and someone asked her what she was, and she said, I'm an American, which rightfully so. Like, why do you need to
Mm-hmm.
be questioned about what you are? Um, and then
Yeah,
I know she went on The View and started having opinions, which was a problem for people too. I don't know what her opinions were, so I'm not gonna
I don't either.
argue on that or even talk on it because I don't know what was said. But I know once she started on The View, which I know is a very opinionated show,
Mm-hmm.
then people started forming opinions on her.
Yeah, I think, she had been, kind of in the sense forgotten in Hollywood for so long. And then she came onto The View and she had opinions and she kind of packed a punch and people were kind of either really for it or they were really against it. There was no real like murkiness of it. It was kind of like she hit like one side or the other for
Yeah.
you. She could have had an extremely successful, singing career. Her voice is amazing. I've even heard it currently where she'll
God.
sing and I'm like, wow,
That girl can belt a note.
really?
Yeah, and I just, you bringing this up just made me remember. Did you ever watch her show State of Georgia?
No.
So she played this girl named Georgia who I want to say moved up to New York with her aunt to pursue fashion or something. It was on
Okay.
Freeform. And this is kind of what she did right after Raven.
Okay.
And she had lost so much weight at this point that she was not Raven.
Mm.
And I think that's kind of where it fell short, which is kind of interesting because we usually push people to be skinny minis and she wasn't herself. And I think that's where it fell short. It was a great show though. It had that Raven-esque humor where, she's doing the funny falls and whatnot. But yeah, I think it got canceled after the first season, if I'm not mistaken.
Really, after Disney, she fell off for me. Like, I didn't really know where she went or what she was doing. Then I heard she popped up in The View and she was, and then, her whole journey with like coming out and like her wife and everything that I heard like later on. But yeah, she had really been kind of disappeared from the public to me for a while.
My next one is Ricky Ullman. If y'all remember him, Phil of the Future, definitely had a little crush on him.
Who didn't? Low key though.
Seriously, I feel like everyone kept it low key, but everyone had a crush on him.
Because he was the quasi 2000s guy, and he was like, honestly, in my opinion, he was just like a tinge up above most guys in high school that you were around. So it was like, okay, like, yeah, he's cute.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so he did Pixel Perfect. And then and like, of course, I was like, oh, he's the cute nerdy guy because they kind of pinned him as a nerd in that. He's like a tech nerd. And then they gave him Phil of the Future, and you're like, oh, we got more of this guy. And he always played those like weird roles because like Phil was pretty weird too because he was a time traveler and didn't really understand.
He just played like confused.
Yeah, yes. That's a great way to put it. Phil was confused. It's so a great show. And then like you didn't hear from him.
Yeah.
I've even looked. Oh my god. I have to tell you.
Oh, what happened?
So he's just done like I have enough fingers on my hands for the roles he did post Phil of the Future. But I forget how I even got on this page. Sometimes I go into deep holes on IMDb. He did a movie and it was like I think it was a horror movie. You'll never guess who else was in this movie.
Oh my god, who?
Talon Trejo, or however you say his name. Talon from Laguna Beach.
No.
I swear it's on IMDb. You have to look it up.
They kind of, that's such a 2000s vibe, these two dudes, though.
But from two completely different universes, like MTV and Disney. Like, we kept those mindsets separate, right?
Wow. Oh my god. Like, what? I would just watch it just to see them be in this horror movie and being like, did.
Yes! I'm sure it was very, like, C-rated, but...
Oh.
I would have liked to seen him go on to do more acting in Hollywood.
Yeah, he gives me like Teen Wolf vibes. Like he could have gone into the MTV like
Stop. Like I'm just imagining him in that show now. There's so many hot guys in that show.
Like he could have done that. He could have done I don't know, Twilight. Like he could have done all these like quasi. You don't think so?
I hate Twilight. I know.
No, I mean, yeah, but you're right, he is, but like he could have definitely fallen into being like one of the wolves or something. I don't know why I'm thinking that he could be a wolf. It's the dark hair.
I know. Because he doesn't like you say Teen Wolf and I'm like, oh, Why didn't they do that? That would
They
have
should
just made
have.
me so happy.
But it's so funny because if you think about that show, actually, we were talking in this about how side characters were the ones that never were breakout stars. The breakout star of that show was the side character,
Which one? Because I feel like
Allison Mashaka.
that girl. I was thinking
But
about
I
adding her
mean-
to my list because Disney messed them up too.
Well, yeah, but I mean, she broke out for a bit as far as like
Yeah.
with her sister, like in the sense of like potential breakup song will forever be popular.
But you know who is a huge star that came out of Phil of the Future?
Who?
Evan Peters.
Oh, well, yeah, of course.
Isn't
Oh my God,
that
yeah.
wild to think about?
What a wait, because if I'm thinking correctly, that's the guy from American Horror Story, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
What a wild concept.
Even before, if you go back before that, though, he was in this movie called Sleepover. Did you ever see that movie?
Is that the one with the girl from Spy Kids?
Yes. He played
Yes.
the SpongeBob kid, the one that was like going to their room. That was him.
Oh my God. That was such that's a slept on movie, by the way.
It really is. Oh, I love that movie. But yeah, I knew him from that, I believe, before Phil of the Future.
Wow. No.
So like whenever he was on Phil of the Future, I always wanted to call him SpongeBob. I couldn't even tell you what his name was, unless it was Seth. I don't know. But yeah, Evan
That's funny.
Peters.
Oh
Phil
my
of the
God,
Future. He was the real breakout star.
No, you're right. He was Mitchell Musso. So his was a little bit of a tragic one too, because he had his
Yeah.
whole thing in 2011 with his DUI.
Yeah.
Hannah Montana was still running in 2011, wasn't it?
I don't know the timeline on that. I know he was doing a different show at the time.
Yeah.
Something Kings.
Yeah, he was
Pair of Kings, that's what it was. And
okay.
it got canceled because of his DUI. I liked that show. I gave it a watch and I really liked it.
I remember like that he had a show after, but I never watched it, and I think it was because it came and went so fast that like.
Well, it was on. I think it started on Disney XD. I forget how. I think maybe I watched it in like later on down the road on Netflix.
He was another one who like had a couple of songs on Disney as well, so he had a good singing voice, but there was potential for him as well. But I think after his whole DUI thing, people kind of just dropped him, which is a little bit disappointing because, but I get it, like especially with him being a Disney star, there was a lot of you couldn't be a Disney star and like getting DUIs and like you know things like that, like you were gonna get dropped. And I feel like if Disney dropped you around that time, nobody else really felt like picking you up because Disney was so big. So I think that's kind of his downfall.
It was also the time where TMZ was big, so everybody knew why he got dropped.
Again, another side character that had the potential but kind of dropped the ball. I don't blame Disney for this, and I don't blame other agencies in Hollywood.
Yeah, I feel like they were trying to work with him as much as possible.
Yeah,
because they gave him another show. Didn't they give him a movie too? I feel like there was a decom called Hatching Pete.
I'm gonna look it up. Oh wow, you're right. It has
okay.
It has Jackson in it.
No.
Yeah, Jason Earls. I'm looking at him.
Jason Dolly.
Why did I say Jason Earls?
Jason Earls is Jackson, but Jason Dolly is actually my next person.
Who is Jason Dolly again?
Okay,
Can
I'll explain.
You remind me?
Because Jason Dolly is who I was actually going to name. So he was kind of later, like as we were phasing out of Disney Channel, but he was in this movie. I think he did Minutemen as well.
Okay, I vaguely remember that.
But
movie.
what you're going to know him from, there's two things you'll probably know him from. He was in Good Luck Charlie. And then he was also in Cory in the House.
Oh my God. You're right. He's a later actor. That's why I don't remember him.
Yeah. So he was later in there, but I thought he was good, and he didn't really do anything after Disney that I know of, at least.
No, he was. Yeah, I think he was just quintessential 2000s kid who was just like funny, and I don't think and maybe it's just his character, but the way that he seemed, his demeanor was like, I'm here for a good time, not for a long time.
So who's your final person?
Okay. So mine is Brenda Song. 100% needs to be talked about.
Mhm.
She was Wendy Boo Homecoming Warrior. She did Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, London Tipton. She created a whole character, or they created a whole
Yeah.
character with her.
She
Um,
was also Phil of the Future.
you're right, Phil of the Future. Thank you.
Yeah,
So,
so that was one they actually that was like an exception Disney made. They let her out of her contract on Phil to allow her to be London. So thank you, Disney, for making that exception.
oh my God, I can't imagine. Like, I like Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. I can't imagine if they hadn't had her as that role. Like,
Yeah.
she was so good.
And then also Stuck in the Suburbs,
Mhm.
Ultimate Christmas Present, Get a
Mhm.
Clue. Like
Oh my God, Get a Clue.
she did
Oh
so
my
many
God.
DComs too.
You're right. I know. I gave like the most basic one. I was like, Wendy Woo, Homecoming Warrior. I forgot about Get a Clue, and I knew she did that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, and hello, she was co-starring with Lindsay Lohan. Like, she should have been a breakout star.
For real.
Um, totally slept on. I don't know if I don't think I blame Disney on this one, because Disney did utilize her a lot in DComs, and they gave her London Tipton and all those different side character, roles. Hollywood slept on her. She was
Yeah.
packaged up, ready for Hollywood. They said, here she is. And they said, no, thank you.
Yeah. Kind of
Go
fell
ahead.
off. And then I remember in Netflix they did a horror movie with her, which wasn't bad. It was actually a
Okay.
pretty good one. She's done a couple Hallmark-esque ones. I tried to watch one recently and I kind of turned it off. It was boring, which isn't her
Okay.
fault. She was in the show Dollface. Have you heard of that show?
I have heard of that show. I haven't watched it.
It's good. You would like
Okay.
it. So it's got Kat Dennings, who just comes out of a relationship and she seeks her old crew who she kind of blew off when she got into the relationship. So she comes back to them. And so Brenda Song was like her former best friend. And then Shay Mitchell's in it. And then
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember her last name, but there's a comedian and her name is Esther. And she used to do a show called, was it like Alone Together or something like that with another
Okay.
comedian? I love her. She's hilarious. But she's like in their little group as well. Do you know who she's married to?
Wait a minute. Isn't she married to Macaulay Culkin?
Yep.
Yep.
Isn't
Okay,
that
that's what I thought.
so sweet?
I love it. Didn't they just have a baby too?
I think it's been a couple of years,
Oh.
but yes, they do have a child together. But yeah,
Cool.
he was in an episode of Dollface, 1 or 2 episodes of Dollface, which is pretty neat to see him acting. All right, we're gonna get into our 2 finger points now. I feel like we've been on here for a while, so we gotta keep it going because we've got more after this that might take a while. We'll keep going. Sorry, guys. Do you want to share your 2 finger
Maybe we'll
point?
split it if we have to. Yeah. So mine mine is very controversial. Disney's gonna be like, shut this girl up. But I think the merch in the parks is really cheap. It's cheap crap now.
Mhm.
Like, don't get me wrong, they're mass producing all kinds of things for anybody who could want something, but I don't feel like there's anything sentimental anymore worth getting.
I see that. I feel like as a society, it's gotten that way. Like
Mm-hmm.
what you go and buy at Target now is not what you could buy 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're paying Disney prices, you expect Disney quality, and that quality's gone out the window. So I totally agree with
Yes.
you.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem is it's like, fine, mass produce, but give us like good quality stuff. Like back in August when I got like so excited about an embroidered sweater. The fact that I got excited about it having quality, like that's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I remember you saying that, and I'm like, this is so sad. Like, this
I
is the
know.
bare minimum.
Literally, it's so bad. And that sweater was still, $55,
Yeah, you
So
have to pay super high prices to get anything embroidered these days. Otherwise, it's iron on, and after a few washes, it starts peeling.
yeah, and ugh, I hate it. I won't pay for iron-on. I would rather just get patches and do it myself.
Yeah, and then you see all these influencers that are like, oh my God, when I see like their wall of ears or lounge flies, and it's like, why? You don't need all of that stuff.
Yeah. Is it benefiting you? No, you benefited Disney and Loungefly. Congratulations, you paid them.
Yeah, and it's more of like a status symbol. Like, I can afford all these lounge flies. I'm sorry, I'm not paying $100 for a bag.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Two Finger Point. We're going to actually release for you guys another bonus content episode. We took a little bit of a deep dive into a Reddit thread about some DCP stuff. It is a little bit more mature, I would say, 18 plus or just
discretion. I don't know.
Discretion.
We need like a trigger warning, but it's definitely mature audience.
Yeah.
We're just no censorship, and it's entertaining.
It's not super dark, but there are some topics that I definitely would say, kids probably shouldn't listen to, and we're a little bit more lackadaisical with our speech, especially me.
Yeah, so take a listen. We'll see you on Thursday. We just didn't want to take up too much time today, but we'll see you sooner than later.
Bye, guys. Thank you for listening to Two Finger Point, hosted by Amber Omar and Kylie Salmon. Created by Amber Omar and Kylie Salmon. Produced by Amber Omar. Engineered by Kylie Salmon. Social media managed by Kylie Salmon. Content created by Amber Omar and Kylie Salmon. Stay connected with us by following us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, or YouTube at Two Finger Point Podcast with the number 2 spelled out, TWO. You can also contact us by visiting our website at twofingerpointpodcast.com. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast to have new episodes automatically downloaded to your device or to get alerts of our new episodes on YouTube. We greatly appreciate you rating and reviewing our podcast as well. You could be selected to have your review read on the podcast, like this review here from our friend Zoe, My Disney Podcast Fix. Amber and Kylie have put together the perfect podcast about all things Disney. Love to hear their banter, their opinions, their recommendations, and I love following along with their quiz at the end of each episode. You know it's a good podcast when you find yourself chiming in. Listening to them every week has me feeling connected to the parks even when I'm far away. Thanks, ladies. Thanks to you too, Zoe. We will catch you next Tuesday for our next episode, but until then, have a magical day.